What's up, folks? Welcome back to Get Paid for Your Pad. Today I'm here with Kay Putnam, the head of marketing for Freewyld and Freewyld Foundry. We are doing a series on marketing to help you drive more bookings, specifically direct bookings, of course, and gain some independence from the OTA. So, Kay, welcome back to the show.
Thank you, Jasper. I'm excited to be here. Yeah, it's kind of fun working together because my position and your position play so well together, but we're working on completely separate things. So the more demand that I drive for the cabins, the more demand you have to play with for revenue management. So it's super fun to lift up the curtain or show behind the curtain of what we're doing to drive that demand. And we're going to chat today about email marketing. So I'm excited.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. And I think email marketing is a very important thing to do. And it's an underused asset, right? It's an underused strategy, right? A lot of hosts are collecting emails from their guests, but they don't really have a plan or strategy in place to consistently drive value to their list and entice those past guests to come back. And I think right now it's more important than ever for a couple of reasons. Like number one, I don't know if you've noticed this, but Airbnb and some other TAs as well, they're getting very strict with the quality of the listings and especially like guest experience. So like if you get a couple 2 or 3 star reviews, you immediately get suspended for like a week, and then if another guest complains, like they'll just close down your listing. They've really like kind of ramped up that process, especially Airbnb. And secondly, I think in sales, it's very well known that selling to a past customer is so much easier than to sell to a new customer, right? So it's almost like, I talk to these operators who have like thousands and thousands of emails of their past guests. And then I ask them like, well, how often do you reach out to them? And it's like maybe once every 2 months and I'm just thinking, man, that's a huge asset that you have right there, right? That's being underutilized. And so, yeah, I think it's a super important topic. A lot of operators struggle with, putting a solid plan in place and being consistent. Oftentimes the question is like, well, what am I going to write? How often do I need to write? What kind of content to send? And like, how do I make sure I'm not spamming my past guests? And how do I get them to book again, like the conversion? So lots of interesting topics to dive into. So I'm excited what you have to share today.
Amazing. We'll touch on all of those. And just to echo what you just said, I was talking with one of our RPM clients and he was asking about how to market his properties better. And he was like, you know what? I have 6,000 email addresses that I don't send to. I was like, well, there is the low hanging fruit. So if you're in a similar situation where you have collected maybe thousands of email addresses, but you're not sending, this is going to be a really valuable episode for you. And similar to our last podcast episode in this series, I'm going to be sharing some slides. So if you are listening to this, we have a video version of this. We'll make sure that we post it along with the slides that I'm sharing. And we're going to do that at freewildfoundry.com/email. Head over there if you want to see the visual side of this conversation, but we'll try to narrate as much as possible as well. I've been on the podcast a few times before, but just so you know where I'm coming from, I've been in online business and online marketing for over 2 decades. I started my first business when I was 16 and am much older now. So I have a lot of experience that I'm drawing from. And it's been just such fun experience to apply everything that I've learned to STR and to the Freewyld cabins. So some of the things that we're going to talk about today, like Jasper mentioned, is what to send to your email list. We'll start with how to actually build your email list. So even if you don't have thousands of emails collected right now, how you can start to collect them. And then specifically what has been working for us at Freewyld. So let's dive in. I just checked this stat and I'm really excited to share that year to date in 2025, we're at 41% bookings. Can you believe that, Jasper?
Wow. That's crazy. That's crazy. I think didn't we set a goal of like 20% or something in 2024, or maybe 30 for 2025?
Yep. Yeah,
That's
something like that.
insane. And to your point, like, I obviously like I just look at the prices and the graphs and the data and everything. It doesn't make a huge difference, like having like 40% of your calendar booked up already and then only having to fill like 60% from the OTAs. It's a game changer. I'm definitely noticing it has a huge effect on our revenue. I'm sure you're aware, revenue has gone up quite a lot in the last 6 months. Yeah, incredible job. That's impressive. I didn't know it was 41%, but
Yeah.
I say
Yeah.
hats off, or Freewyld cap off to you.
Thanks, Jasper. So, to be fair, email is not the only thing that's driving those direct bookings. Last week, we talked about influencer marketing. So, if you missed that episode, be sure to go listen there. But emails play a really big role. We are up to just shy of 6,000 emails. And the key point here is we own that audience, meaning even if we change the email software that we're using, we're not relying on the algorithm. We're not relying on the OTAs to reach those people. Whenever we want to send a message to those 6,000 people, many of whom have stayed with us, many of whom have not yet, but will continue to nurture that relationship and earn that stay, we own that and we can control that. Of course, not everybody opens every email that they get, but when you're comparing it to a social media post, we are generally shooting for about 30 to 40% open rate on our emails. And when you post something on social media, perhaps 1% of your audience is going to see it. So it is still a really outsized, high leverage point place to reach your guests and potential guests.
I'm just noticing average contact growth per day. Like, we get 18 new people who sign up for our email list every single day.
Yeah.
I know that that doesn't look like a huge number, but if you think about it, that's 18 people that could stay at our cabin, who could bring their friends. And like, that's to me, like, that's huge. Like 18 new people who get like, exposure to our brand, and who we can now directly contact. Like, that's amazing. One question is, I know we're collecting emails from past guests, but we don't have 18 people staying at our cabins every day, right?
Right.
So like, I guess we're also getting a lot of emails from other places, right?
100%. Let's dive into that in just a moment. Before I do that, I wanted to comment on one more thing on this graph that's on the screen. Again, if you want to watch the videos, head over to freewildfoundry.com/email. But we have some really big inclines in this graph. So over time, generally, we have this like consistent, steady growth. So we'll talk about how we made that happen. But we've also ran some campaigns specifically geared towards earning more email addresses. So I'm going to share how we got those are like really big spikes in our email list as well. And some background knowledge that you should know before you dive headfirst into email marketing is that there's this 3-part process to making the most out of your email marketing. First, we need to get in front of people. So those might be guests. I will talk about how to do that. Those might be people on social media. Perhaps it's just somebody that's doing a Google search. Find a cabin in Idlewild near me. So first step is to get in front of people. Next, we use what's called in marketing language a lead magnet. So we need to incentivize people to give us the email address. So I'll talk about that in a second. And then we actually need to send emails and invite people to come and stay to make the most out of this. And that's where we're nurturing and building the relationship. And then finally, we're making those asks throughout those emails to convert somebody who is thinking about staying to somebody who is actually putting their credit card down and coming and staying. So one of the easiest ways that you can passively collect email addresses is to have some type of offer and a pop-up on your website. So you're already getting traffic to your website if you have one, just by nature of being in business. And the thing that we do, we borrowed this strategy from all of the biggest e-commerce businesses in the world. They almost all offer a discount to incentivize that email address. So we offer $100 off of your stay. And then we also have a Freewyld mode guide as well. So if you have heard about Freewyld in the past, you know that we try to inspire people to get off their screens and to enjoy nature. So we have a whole free guide that we share that ethos and that brand story with them. But we couple it with that discount just to push people over the line because we're generally very guarded of our email addresses. We don't want to give it up and get more emails in our inbox. So we need to give people a good reason to get on our email list. And this is a great way to do that. Second way that we're passively, meaning once we set this up, we don't have to really do anything else, earning email addresses, is we have implemented a tool called StayFi. Jasper, do you want to talk a little bit more about StayFi and your background with them?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, StayFi is a game changer. What StayFi allows you to do is collect email addresses from not just the booker, but every single person that's going to connect to your Wi-Fi. So if we have 6 guests staying at our cabin, we're now probably going to collect 6 emails because, as we all know, everybody wants to connect to the internet, right? So StayFi is a very, very powerful tool that can help you do that. Yeah, if you're not using StayFi, I highly recommend check it out. It has some other functionality as well, where you have a branded login screen, and that you can even help you like store your contacts and send out emails and whatnot. But yeah, just being able to collect the emails from every guest versus just the booker is huge.
Yeah, massive. And using that language, the lead magnet here is the connection to Wi-Fi. So we see this a lot in, airports and hotels and things. And to be able to implement this for our SDR properties is massive because it's such a powerful incentive. People want to get connected to Wi-Fi, so they don't mind giving us their email address to do so.
Yeah, and one thought that often comes up when we talk about stay file, like hosts often ask like, hey, is that not annoying for the guest, right? That they have to like put in their email to connect to the Wi-Fi. And so is that not going to lead to like a worse like guest experience? And I don't know what your feeling is with that, but like I don't think guests care really. Like they just want to connect to the internet. They're used to these screens because in hotels you get that as well. If anything, I feel like it might even give like a nice like professional impression, right? If you're staying at the Marriott or the Four Seasons, guaranteed that you're gonna have like one of those login screens, right? So might even associate you with more of a professional company. But yeah, I just want to put that out there. Like I don't think we've ever had any complaints from guests.
No, it's a strategy that's relatively low friction. We don't even really think about it because we're so used to those screens. I mean, even just I flew somewhere, I can't remember where. Oh, we flew up to New York City to celebrate my husband's birthday. And I was logging into the Wi-Fi on the Delta plane, and I'm already a Delta member, but I still have to log in to get access to that benefit. So it just happens so often in our life that it's a relatively low friction. And of course, guests have the power to unsubscribe if they don't want to continue to hear from you. But the actual point of putting in their email address, we hardly even think about it as consumers. And then another way, and this is one of the ways that we've had one of those steep inclines in the growth of our email list, is we have run some paid campaigns to generate more email addresses. So we've done this in two different ways. I'm going to explain both. One of them is just running a more general lead generation ad. So we show beautiful content of our cabins. We let people know if they sign up to our list, then they're going to get this discount. And the cost per lead when I was running these ads was under $2, which is okay. We're not running these right now, but it is a good way to speed up the process of growing an email list. If you haven't done anything yet and you're impatient like I am, this is a really great way to earn some of those email addresses. The key here is you want to be extremely targeted with your ads. We only target people who are within a radius of our property. So they're most likely to come and stay. We're generally a drive-to destination. And then we choose people who are frequent travelers or prefer luxury travel because our Freewyld cabins are at a bit of a higher price point. So we don't want to have a bunch of people on our email list that are looking for bargain stays. We want to find those people that are most likely to come and stay when we're collecting the email addresses.
Do you have any idea of how much value we get out of these leads? So if one lead costs us, close to $2, do you have any insight into what the return is on that?
Yeah, that's a really great question, Jasper. I know that a lot of bookings come from the emails that we send. I don't know the exact number off the top of my head, but we have really healthy click-through rates. So when we're sending emails to people, there's always some percentage of people that are clicking through from our emails to our website, and then some percentage of those are booking. So again, because we have that direct line of communication with them, we can send them incentives and reasons to come and stay. Maybe there's like a really cool astrological event happening in Idlewild, or there's a jazz fest event that's happening. So we can remind people of those reasons to book, even without giving more like discounts or coupons, because we don't necessarily want to become the JC Penney of our industry. We don't always want to rely on discounts. People other reasons to book, and those have been really effective at driving traffic to the website, which results in bookings.
Yeah, and I think it's also a long-term game, right? Like somebody could subscribe to our email list, and let's say we pay $2, and they might not stay with us for several months, right? So there's value that we can get like that's further out. Plus, those people could tell other people about us, and I don't know. Like my gut feeling is like $2 for like an email address of somebody that lives nearby who could visit us. I mean, if one in every 100 stay with us, then we're paying $200 for somebody to come stay with us. If that person turns into like a regular guest, I mean, that's a huge ROI for us right there, I think.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
it feels like a pretty feels like a pretty good deal.
Like we said in the beginning, it's part of this larger puzzle of all of the different things that we're doing. But these tend to be really high value contacts because we have that ability to target who we want to when we're using the strategy of paid ads to support it. Another thing that we've done that has generated the cheapest leads, at least the leads that we're paying for. We already mentioned some passive ways that we're generating leads just without paying per lead. But if you are trying to speed it up, I'm going to use language here that's a little bit weird, but I'll explain what I mean. We've self-hosted a giveaway. So I'm using that distinction because we've also hosted giveaways on Instagram with influencers. But we set up our own giveaway, had an intake form on our website, and then we ran ads to, again, local area, people who travel often, who appreciate luxury travel or adventure travel. And these leads were 60 cents per lead, so much cheaper. Granted, they are potentially less luxurious because they're taking the time to enter a giveaway. They're like, ooh, I want free stuff. But they're at least interested enough in our brand because we're using content of our cabins and of the brand experience and the brand story to invite them to this giveaway. So this can be a really fast method to really boost up your email list and earn some leads, email leads that you can continue to communicate with.
Amazing. So these leads are much cheaper, huh? But then we give away free stay, so there's a little extra cost on there.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. We're giving away the 2-night stay, and we do limit it. So we limit it to weekday stays so that it's a little bit of a lower value opportunity cost that we're giving up, and still have seen really amazing results even with that limitation. All right. So now that you've collected email addresses, the next step is knowing what to send. And one of the most magical things about email marketing is that you can, if you put up the work in up front, you can create what's called an email automation that sends the same series of emails to every single person that joins your email list. So I love work that you can do once and then continue to reap the benefit from again and again. And we leverage this pretty heavily. We actually have about 40 emails in our full nurture sequence. But even if you start with 1 or 3 or 5, you are creating a consistent brand experience with every single person that joins your email list, and you're doing better than you were before. So start small, but you can grow this to even be a whole year of emails. And then you don't have to think so much in the week to week basis of, oh my gosh, what am I going to send? I haven't sent in forever, because you know that this is happening in the background with every single person.
Yeah, that's one of the things I love about email marketing is if you set this up correctly, there's a little bit of work on the front end, but then like you don't have to invest a lot of money. I mean, we're running some ads and stuff, but you don't necessarily have to do that.
Right.
And so like, you know, like a CRM like this, it's not going to break the bank. And so it's really like, it's just low hanging fruit with, you know, you really don't have to invest much. And that's why the email marketing delivers such an amazing ROI.
Yep. And here's what we send. So we start with delivering whatever we promised. So in our case, we deliver the coupon code for that $100 off of their stay. A second email, we tell more about our brand story and the guest experience that people can expect when they come and stay at Freewyld. Email number 3, we like to share more about the humans behind the brand and make that personal connection, share a bit of the founder story, why we started Freewyld, why we're so passionate about it. And then all of the emails after that, we're trying to add value. So put yourself in the shoes of somebody who's receiving emails and ask yourself, what would my guests actually want to know or want to learn or want to discover related to either my properties, the local area, or perhaps even vacations in general. So one challenge that some property managers in particularly have is that their properties are kind of all over the country. And if that's the case for you, you have to get a little bit more creative. So you have to start thinking about, okay, what are the, I don't know, maybe mental health benefits of taking a vacation? Or what should you pack if you're going to go to this area of the country? It's a little bit harder to be relevant if you have the benefit that we do, where all of our properties are in a specific geographic area. It becomes a little bit easier because we can talk about the event in Idlewild. We can talk about local experiences. We can talk about our properties and highlight each of them as we're going through these emails. So get creative, ask yourself what would be valuable for you. And that's like 80% better than what most people do when they're sending emails, because most people just ask like what do I want to tell my guests? Like, hey, we have I don't know, late checkout or something. And it's kind of boring in terms of emails. Really challenge yourself to be interesting and valuable.
Yeah. A couple tips I would love to share because, it's just so everybody knows. Before Kay joined our team and released me of the task of writing emails, I was actually the one writing emails for our companies back when we were running Overnight Success, and we were doing coaching programs like Latin's X and whatnot. Like, I was the one who was writing those emails, and so what really helped me was, number one, is always be thinking about email topics, right? Like, if I was walking around on the street or whatever, like, I was always in my mind, I was always thinking like, oh, what would be another good email topic, right? And then I would write it down on my phone. Because if you just sit down, like, every week, let's say you want to send an email, and you just sit down and you're like, all right, I got 30 minutes to write an email. All right, what am I going to write about? And you're like, damn, can't think of anything. Oops, now I have 20 minutes left. And now you like have to just bust out something mediocre. And so, in order to prevent that, like, I was always like writing down ideas. I was always like creating little drafts and stuff for future emails. So that's one tip for everybody out there. And then number two is, you want to get ahead of the curve, right? So have some emails in the can, right? Write a couple emails that you don't need right now that are evergreen, meaning that they're not tied to like a certain event at a certain time of the year, right? But more like, something general about your business or about your location that you can talk about, and just have those in the can, because there's going to be a moment where, life gets in the way and you're not able to send that weekly email. And one of the most important things to be successful with this kind of stuff is consistency, right? Whether you do it once a week or once every 2 weeks, if you're consistent with it for years and years in a row, like, you're going to get amazing results. So really, like, set yourself up for success, and make sure that you have the ability to be consistent. I think that makes a big difference.
Great tips. Another thing I like to do is actually subscribe to emails. So be a consumer of other people's emails, and you'll get a lot of really fantastic ideas that way as well. I have a folder inside of my inbox that's literally called Swipe File, where I save all of the inspiring or amazing or interesting emails that I get that I think I could use as inspiration for the different brands that I'm writing for. And that can be really helpful as well.
On that note, if you're looking for some inspiration, I know a company that where you can sign up for their email list. It's called Freewyld. You can go to freewyld.com, and then you can just model case emails.
Exactly.
Don't reinvent the wheel. Model the expert.
Yes. I have up on the screen, if you are watching with us, what our first email looks like for Freewyld. We actually, something interesting about sending emails is that the more the email looks like it's an email from a friend, the better open and click rate you tend to get. So over on the Freewyld Foundry side, when we're sending about RPM and the revenue management service that we do, our design is much simpler. But on Freewyld, we made the conscious decision that we might get lower click rates, but we wanted to elevate the brand experience. So we do have a very well designed, beautiful email that we send out. We have a couple different templates that we kind of cycle through with the different messages that we send, so that people don't get blind to the design, because that happens over time as well. But you can see an example of that. And then I will also stick some links to example emails that we send in freewildfoundry.com/email if you want some more resources after this episode. And then also some pro tips when it comes to subject lines. Subject lines really matter, because that's the decision point where somebody is deciding if they're going to pay attention to you or not. So some things that you can leverage in your email subject lines are, if you can add some personalization. So if you add the first name of the person that you're sending to, that can be really effective. Our brains naturally will respond to specific numbers. So if we have 3 things to do in Idlewild, we naturally want to know what those 3 things are. So that can work really well. And then also use to your comfort level, but negative words actually really increase open rates as well. So I'll use words like confession or warning. And then we actually flip the script. So, confession, I hid everybody's phones, or warning, may cause unexpected bonding. And those naturally make our brain light up with, like, oh, what is this? I need to pay attention because it's a negative word. And then we can bring it back to our brand story so that it's not all negative. But that tends to work really well in terms of getting people to open.
That's so funny. Yeah, I'm looking at all these subject lines, and the warning ones immediately grab my attention because I think it's kind of like human nature that we're always looking for danger in order to stay alive. And so when there's like warning, it's like, I got to read that. You know what I mean? It's like, and then this time will steal your heart. That's such a good subject line because the warning, it pulls you in, and then this time will steal your heart, makes you feel like, okay, I gotta open that because, you know, I only have one life. What if I miss out on like the cutest town in the world?
Yes.
Right. And just because I didn't want to take 5 seconds to open this email, I might be missing out on this incredible town. Like, I don't want to miss out on that. So like, I would 100% open that email.
Yes. FOMO.
We're so easily fooled.
And we probably don't want to do this for every single subject line because, again, if people feel like they're being tricked, they're not going to love that. But if it's playful and it's fun and it's unexpected, our brain loves that. So have fun with your subject line.
If you sent me like 10 emails with a subject line warning, I'm going to be like, yeah, I know those warnings.
Yeah.
Those are not real warnings. It's like, what do you call that? Crying wolf or something? Or is it an idea to like you could also do like one time you say warning and then the next time it's like attention or like watch out or, you know, like kind of varying it up so that people don't start recognizing those words.
Yes. Novelty is definitely important.
How do we trick people into opening our emails?
Yes. One thing I did want to acknowledge is that almost all of us are sending emails to guests already through our automated booking sequences. So these are really important to pay attention to as well, because they're such important brand touch points. We are really challenging ourselves to find the balance between being super clear and concise and short, but then also sprinkling in little bits of brand personality and story. So if you haven't recently taken a look at your automated booking messages, definitely take a look at those because those are another great opportunity to leverage email, leverage messaging to reach your guests. So that was the gist of it. Let me just sum up some of the things that we talked about that are the most important points for implementing this. Definitely set up systems. So have some of those passive systems like a pop-up or a field on your website that is collecting email addresses all the time. Or if you want to really level that up, using something like Stayfi is fantastic ways to get email addresses, particularly when people are coming in through Airbnb and other OTAs where we don't have access to that email address already. Automations are your friends. So do the work once, set it up, make sure that every person is getting a consistent brand experience. And then the fun thing about that is that now once a month or so, I'm going back to those emails that I wrote and I'm paying attention to what are the click rates and what are the open rates on each of those emails. So if I'm noticing an outlier in either direction, so if one is performing really well, then I can use those learnings and apply it to some of the other emails. Or if one is just lagging behind and has dramatically lower stats, then it's a really easy opportunity to improve the subject line or improve the call to action in the email to get better results from your emails. And then finally, the reason that we're doing this is because owning your audience is insurance against anything that can happen. So it's a really valuable activity to do to earn those email addresses and to build that relationship with people over time.
Incredible. Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing all this with the audience. And again, if you want to have the slideshow plus some email examples that Kay put together, you can go to freewildfoundry.com/email. And Freewyld is with a Y in wild. So freewildfoundry.com/email. I highly suggest if you do not have your email marketing dialed in, make sure you use this resource because I can guarantee you're going to stand out from your competitors. And in today's market, I'm sure you have noticed we're not in the strongest market of the last decade or so. It's been pretty sluggish when it comes to demand. So like, having that additional asset to stand out for your competition and drive some additional bookings can make a huge difference. if I look at our clientele, we work with about 35 companies, and these are professional companies, right? These are companies that are doing over $1 million in top line revenue. And I would say less than 20% of these companies have their email marketing dialed in.
Yeah.
So if you're listening to this, and if you take action, download this resource, and if you really like spend some time and set up a strategy around email marketing, you're gonna definitely be in the top 10% of Airbnb hosts when it comes to that. So highly recommend take action. Any final thoughts, Kay, before we wrap up?
I was just kind of laughing in my head because when you go to freewildfoundry.com/email, I'm going to ask you for your email address and we'll send you valuable content related to hosting and STR marketing and all of those great things. Of course, if ever you don't want to receive those emails, you can unsubscribe, but we are literally practicing what we preach with this call to action because we're giving you something incredibly valuable so that we can grow trust and earn your relationship over time. So you can see what we're doing through going to that link and getting those resources.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Like I said before, like don't reinvent the wheel.
Yeah.
Model what others are doing who are successful with it, right? So like feel free to model everything that we do, including this podcast, the lead magnet, the emails, model everything that we do because it will save you a lot of time. So with that said, Kay, thanks again. I'm excited for the next one. So we're doing one per week on marketing. I think we have a 5-part series scheduled. So this was number 2. What are we talking about on the next one?
You know what? I was just wondering that myself. So we can talk about listing optimization. We can talk about getting photos and videos for your STR. And then we can also talk about SEO. We have a bunch of really exciting topics coming up.
Yeah, awesome. Let's do SEO next week.
Let's do it.
Right?
Sounds good.
So that people can look forward to that. So
amazing.
SEO is also a very important aspect of driving direct bookings.
Yeah.
Thanks, Kay. And thanks to listeners. Hope you enjoyed this podcast. Again, make sure you take advantage of our free resource here at freewildfoundry.com/email. You can get the slides. You can get some example emails as well. So it will be very powerful resource to have. With that said, thanks for listening, and we'll be back soon with another podcast. Until
Thanks,
then.
Jasper. Bye.